So let us see, we have seen what are the fundamental characteristics on basing which the classification is done. Now let us look at some more criteria. That is due to the advancement in technology. Microscopes were invented. People started looking at the living things at cellular level, observing with what the living things are made up of and how the structures and functions of these fundamental units called cells. So the cell biology has started, it's growing up. People are observing the inner parts of a cell and taking those difference in the form of inner structures of a cell as a criteria for classification, considering it as a fundamental characteristic basis for the classification. What they are considering, the change in the change at the cellular level. So if you take that cellular level differences, you will find these organisms that have a distinct nucleus and cell organelles, and the organisms that do not have a distinct nucleus and other materials are found in the cytoplasm. These organisms are called prokaryotes, and these are called as eukaryotes or eukaryotic organisms. So we did a classification grouping depending upon the differences inside the cellular components, the structure of this cell. Based on that we did this classification. Again, if you take these eukaryotes, they are again divided to unicellular, multicellular. Unicellular. So what is this unicellular? They have only one cell, eukaryotes, amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, they have only one cell. Even though they are eukaryotes, they have only one cell throughout their life, whereas in other animals, multicellular organisms, they have number of cells. So these cells are grouped in tissues performing different functions. So there is a hierarchy, there is a classification, organization of the cells. The cells are differentiated into complex tissues to organs and organ systems. So that is found in these organisms. Basing upon the difference, there you find the classification. Again, at some point, you take the food as the main basis for the classification, food. That is, if you see the organisms that contain the green pigment chlorophyll and which are capable of preparing their own food, the organisms that have chlorophyll and which can prepare their own food and which cannot prepare their own food, which capture or get their food from other organisms. So this is the basic idea which is considered to divide plants and animals, Plantae and Animalia. So why they have taken this function as a characteristics, not the appearance? For example, they can take the physical form. Here is a branch, here is a branch. Why can't you take a man? You can sort out some similarity. Yes, the tree is having a head like thing, man is having a head like thing, tree is having branches like man is having arms. It's very foolish. You cannot take the physical appearance in case of body designs to compare a plant and animal, because the functioning, the basic functioning of plants and animals is entirely different. So in this case, we cannot consider the design, appearance as a characteristic for classification. So here what is considered their functioning? The basic idea how the food is acquired by these organisms. Plants, they are photosynthetic. They carry out photosynthesis. They have chlorophyll. They prepare their own food. Whereas animals, they cannot prepare their own food. They depend on other plants or animals for their food. So this is the basic characteristic by which we divide the organisms into two major groups, plants, animals. So in this way, we have to find out the characteristics which will exactly divide the organisms into two groups. See that the groups, the members of a group will have more similarities, less differences. And if we study one particular a thing, if the fundamental characteristics of all the members of a group must be similar. So that is the idea behind the basis of this classification. Now let us see the relation between classification and evolution. So classification means we know that grouping of organisms, and evolution. Evolution is how the diversity has come into the existence. The evolution tells us how this much of variety has come into the existence. It will explain. So how the variety has come. The theories of evolution, the origin of species, and the theory of evolution was given by Charles Darwin. He has written in his book how the evolution has taken place, and he has given certain examples which we will study in your next class in the lesson Heredity and Evolution. So the evolution, it gives certain ideas and hints for the process of classification or grouping. So if you see the evolutionary steps, how the organisms are evolved, you will find that different organisms, an organism will acquire some characters, some traits, some characters, new characters. Basically we call them as variations, new variations. This organism, it develops into, it turns to some other organism which is a higher level. This is the first level you see, it comes to next level organism. So this organism A, it turns to B. Means the B will have the primitive characters of A, and along with the primitive characteristics, the fundamental characteristics, it acquired new characteristics. Right? So there are two organisms. See here, there is an organism A, this is an organism A. So in this generation, there is an organism A. Some new character has come, new trait has come into this new variation AB, and this one has got another variation AC. These two organisms, AC and AB, they have A common. That means some characteristic common, similar to their parent, but here the other characteristics are different. So this one acquired QR also, Q and R. This one has not acquired any other characters, it's still remaining AC. So certain organisms, they still remain primitive. Certain organisms, by the addition of variations, they will become more and more complex. Right? But they will be having the fundamental character same. So if you see, this organism is A, B, Q, R. This organism is only AC, but we are keeping these two things in one group on basing this primary fundamental character A. So the process of evolution, the theory of evolution, helps us to classify the organisms, to understand on basing what the grouping is done. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel to get more videos on CBSE syllabus.